Mike, welcome back. I'm so excited to have you again.
It's a pleasure to be back again. I'm glad to be had again. So thank you for having me back.
Oh, I'm so thrilled. And this is such a joy for me because I get to talk to you about something I'm working on and I'm writing my own book and I
Love it.
wanted to include you and I'm so excited. And so what I really wanted to talk to you about is this idea of someone stumbling into entrepreneurship and feeling like I can do this, which they can, of like,
Yeah.
I can do this. And like they're really confident or trying to find that confidence in that. But the new, well, not the newest, but the latest revision of the Clockwork book is really all about having a business run itself. And
hmm
I am fascinated with it, but I'm thinking my audience is going to be like, I don't need that yet. So I wanted to
Yeah.
talk to you about it.
Yeah. Well, great. And you do need it conceptually. There's some things that aren't applicable now.
Hmm.
I think when you start a business, you first do, then you move to defining and then ultimately delegating. Like
Hmm.
in the very beginning of a business, you're the resource and you're a great resource because you're available at no cost, just your time typically. You're the most affordable resource and the most powerful. So it's a great start. But if we stay stuck there, then we become beholden to the business. You're not an owner, you're a freelancer.
Mm.
As we do work, we need to start defining of the work I'm doing, what's driving results and actually works. What's the stuff I'm doing that's not necessary and can be deleted or removed. Then once we have an operational set of what's working and serving clients and building our business, then we start the delegation process. We start bringing in individuals, assembling a team. Ironically, though, from day one of a business, you already have a team kind of behind the scenes building that you're not even aware of, yet they're probably the most powerful influencers on your business. I
Oh,
can share a
tell me
secret.
more.
Yeah,
Tell me more.
that's a big cliffhanger. That'll be my next book available on Amazon
Yes,
next week. Yeah.
I love
Now,
it.
the hidden team. Here's the hidden team. Your clients are part of your team. Your vendors, if you use software technology, if you're watching this on a computer right now, the vendors had to get that stuff in your hand. They're part of your team. And here's how it works. You can build systems for your clients to follow to deliver a better service. I'm
Mm.
I'm pretty older now, so there was a time back a long time ago when I would call to order something out of a catalog. This is pre-internet. You'd have an
Mhm.
operator on the other end. He'd be like, give me your address. How do you spell that last name? Michalowicz.
I'm sure
It
that
was
was
like a
fun.
nightmare, a nightmare. But now I happily, when I make an order, enter all that data in over and over and over again on any site that I'm buying from and happily do it. I have become effectively in that part an employee or at least a resource for that company to get the job done. So I do it happily. I volunteer to do it and it results in better accuracy. That's engagement of an employee, of a client. And you can do that. You can make your clients also contributors to the project you're working on with them, a supporter of it by doing some of the stuff to bring about efficiency.
Mm.
Another model, I see it regularly and it works so well, is accountability. If you have a group of people you're working with,
Mhm.
you, the owner of the business, don't have to hold them accountable and call them every day and say, how are you doing? You can cause partnerships or trigger partnerships between your clients, and they are enforcing with each other. You've employed them effectively to do the service that your company promises, accountability, without doing the work. So that's one side of your team that already exists. The other side is vendors. That software company of yours, call them up and say, listen, I love your software. I'm trying to leverage what you're doing to gain some more exposure to my clients. Is there anything other ways you can support me? They say, be a guest on a webinar we're doing or something. Or now they're your social media team, just chirping out about you or whatever the word, tweeting out about you or chirping.
I
But
like chirping.
you can engage your vendors beyond just what you're doing. You're already paying them, so there's an obligation. What else is available for you? So you already have a team.
That's fantastic. I think that's so empowering when we think about it because sometimes thinking of hiring a team and doing all these things, like all of
Yeah.
a sudden, like my brain goes to like, oh my gosh, I have to find health insurance for people when you employ someone. Like, actually, step back a few steps, Amanda. It's like not that complicated to have a team.
Yeah, you already have it. And it is the greatest practice.
Mhm.
Volunteers are my favorite, and your clients can be volunteers because there is no remuneration back to them, but you have to manage them. But you have to manage them in a willful, fun way. If I tell my clients, hey, could you come and scrub the floor of the bathroom here every week for me? I get a
Mhm.
no way would I ever do
Right.
that. So what it does is it starts challenging me to think innovatively on how to inspire people to do things without compensation. Yeah, at a certain point, you may need people to compensate them as employees just for availability or for certain functions, but you already have this mentality of how to inspire people to do work beyond compensation.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a lot of that mindset of just thinking like, how can I use my resources? Sometimes it's software, sometimes it's people
Yeah.
to help me be more efficient, which is really what you're getting at in this book, which is fantastic of allowing
I
people to do it.
I got one more story I got to tell you because it was so
Bring it.
funny. There was a child care center that used Clockwork, and they said, "How do we get our clients to be our employees around cleanup?" So there's lots of children. It's a mess at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day. And this one person said, "Oh my gosh, if I put above the basket where all the toys are a bell that they can throw the toy at and hit the bell and it falls in the basket, now comes motivation." It is one of the most joyous experiences. The kids
Oh.
can't wait to clean up. They're getting the result they want innovatively and in a joyous way. They've clockworked their clientele.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Use that at home too if you have young children. It's great.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. When I this has nothing to do with running a business, but it made me laugh thinking about kids. Like when I met my now husband, he has two kids and I became their step parent and the first time I met them, he was like, they've got so much energy right now. You're about to see a parenting technique that is going to be pretty funny. And he was like, I bet you can't run to the top of that hill and back in 20 seconds.
I'll time you. Yeah.
Yes. And so he did it. And so use your resources. Like, gosh, if you're a parent, you've probably done this a million times.
Ironically, I use a very similar technique as your husband. I would tell my children, I bet you can't run to the top of the hill and back by the time I finish this beer.
Oh, I love it.
And yeah, so
I
it was a
love that.
beer. And they're like, Dad, you got to drink slower. So it worked. It was served both of us.
It really did. That's fantastic. Oh, I love it. So, one of the things me laughing makes me think about one of my favorite stories of yours, which is not in this book per se, not that I've gotten to it anyway, but it's in a lot of when I hear you on podcasts or
Yeah.
see you and hear you talk about other books. And it's your value of no dicks allowed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just have to ask you about that because I'm like, did you know going into that would be a value, or you were like, that's just what I believe?
I knew that is who I am,
Hmm.
but I knew it's who I am when I violated it, not because someone else was a dick to me, because I was a dick to them.
Mm.
And I remember just kicking myself over and over. It was something I couldn't get over. Like, why would I do that? And so forth. I'm like, oh my gosh, I broke a law, a rule I have for myself. I can't do this. And I said, oh, that's a value. This is an expectation I have of myself, and I also have it of others. I will never be a dick. As my wife says, I will be dickless. So I'm the dickless guy in the right
Yes.
sense. But what's interesting now is our company has grown here. There's 10 employees here. Collectively, we've about 22 folks now. That includes myself.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is amazing. But we had a meeting, we had a retreat just 3 weeks ago, and we talked about our immutable laws. And I told how this company's been formed around no dicks allowed and positivity or death, these different rules. And the team came back and said, we get the no dicks allowed, but also it feels broy. It is who we are, but we're not. And someone said, we're really the Ted Lassos. And I'm like, oh. That's better. So the value hasn't changed, but the descriptor in the engagement is. So where your Ted Lasso may be the one replacing no dicks allowed.
Well, either way, I think it's awesome, but it does make me laugh every time. And I think like it makes me laugh because it's so, like I say, it's so you, like I know you personally, but it feels like very you, which is what we want every entrepreneur to really tap into. Like, that's the value you can have. I think a lot of people get in their heads about values, and it's like those stupid posters on the wall. They're like,
oh my God, integrity, honesty.
Yes.
Yeah, shareholder value.
Right.
Cheesy, inauthentic, lame.
Yeah.
Humanity, you and I, we are starving for real people, particularly in this age where it's all,
right,
windows and screens and video. We want that human connection. The human connection comes through reality, a real presence, a authentic. I was trying to avoid the word authenticity, but
Right. It's
couldn't
there.
find it. It's
Yeah.
there. It's there. Authenticity. And we got a smellometer from miles away. We know when someone is trying to play someone they're not. And here's the reality. The more you are yourself, the more your company is an expression of the true you, you will build haters and lovers. I have people that are Uber fans, and I am so honored and flattered. And they don't say, I love you, Mike. What they really say is, I love that you're representing the true me. It's a mirror effect. I've had people approach me at speaking conferences and so forth and say, my gosh, I love your work. And I ask them why. They say, because it's who I am. And I'm like, okay, you don't love my work. You just love that it's expressed authentically. There's also the haters that say, dude, you're the biggest tool on the planet. You are dickless, Mike. Like, I get that. And the 1 stars and the I'm a scumbag. Someone actually called me the son of the devil. They said,
What?
yeah, they said Satan has a son. His name's Mike Michalowicz. And he
Oh my
spelled
gosh.
Michalowicz wrong, which was a little bit evil too.
Right.
But I will tell you this, having a polarized community, it does bruise my ego. It hurts that I'm not liked by everyone. Empowers both communities. When you have polarization, both communities come up. The worst thing, and you've heard this before, the worst thing is to be ambiguity. The worst thing is to be hidden in the corner and not noticeable. So be noticed, but get ready to get punched in the gut a few times.
Right. Ugh. And I think that's what so many people are scared of, especially the ones that I'm working with that are like, should I start this business? I'm really nervous about being online. Like they're really nervous about that punch in the gut.
Fucking do it. I'm yelling at the camera. There's a microphone right above me. Fucking do it. Do it. I have people, I don't want to go online. I don't look the part. People aren't going to like me, but it's all true. But you're a human, you're you. We are starving for you. And for the people that don't like you, there's probably 10 that say, finally, they've arrived. Finally, you showed up. Here's the deal, Amanda. Everyone's scared. Be the one person. I'm not saying not be scared. The one person who fights through the fear and just does it because it's the right thing to do. The rest of us will applaud you.
Yes. Mic drop. That's like right there. You just did it.
I do a mic drop, but my mic's above me. So I got to do like a mic push or something.
A mic lift.
A mic lift.
I like
I got
it.
fuzzy on it.
Oh, it's so good. And I think everyone needs to hear those words probably every day
Yeah,
when they get that fear that comes in. But what's on the other side of pushing through that fear is so cool is you get to create this company and then work through all your different books and everyone else's. It's like, oh my gosh. And then we get to figure out like what you've said here is design your business to run itself.
Yeah.
And that I think, you've probably experienced pushback on this too, of like, oh no, but I want to be part of the business still.
I got pushback from me on this. But here's the deal. I'll first give some statistical context. There was a study done by the SBA. It's done every year on number of people who become entrepreneurs and so forth. This is actually globally true. 14% of the global population ever starts or runs a business, 14%. So imagine a kindergarten class of 30 people. We are saying 4 students decide to become an entrepreneur. The other 26 are looking for jobs. Then, and this is a real gut punch, only 20% of that 14% is ever successful in a sustainable business, meaning a business that's fiscally healthy and sustainable. That means 1 student out of kindergarten class actually made it work. The rest, everyone else is looking for a good job. 97% of the world population is looking for a good job with a good company. Our job as the entrepreneur is not to do the job, it's to be the creator of jobs. In the beginning, we got to do it because you're taking the risk. You have a vision, you got to bring it about. But at a certain point, you have to realize if you're still doing the work, you are stealing the job from someone who needs and wants it. Our job isn't to work. And it's my biggest battle with entrepreneurs. Stop working. They're like, but someone has to do this. Exactly. And the fact that you're doing it, you're preventing that someone from doing it. There's someone that could have a great job, but you're blocking them out. Well, what am I going to do when I leave? Design the company to support more jobs or to embrace that person or persons so they have a remarkable experience. Be the creator of the environment, not the doer of the job. Am I
Mm.
soapboxing too much? Is
I feel like this is one of those moments where I was like, I want you to come on my podcast. I want you to share all this wisdom. And I just got coached right now.
you got
I
coached. You got
just got
coached hard.
coached right now. And
I
I
almost shook
needed
you
it.
on that one.
And
Yeah,
I
I
needed
challenge you, Amanda, and everyone listening, no longer do the job. Now, here's the deal. I'm not saying tomorrow, stop working, find your replacement, they're
right.
in, you're done. We have to fractionalize you. Let me ask you this question. Do you have a
Mhm.
personal assistant?
So I just hired one because I was
Okay,
going through this process and I was like, okay, I'm going to need some help. It was a few months
awesome.
ago and it's very new and it is so hard for me.
Yes, it's very hard. And that's why it's so important. Anyone listening, if you don't have a personal assistant, you are the personal assistant.
Mm,
And what we need to do is start fractionalizing ourselves out. Usually, the easiest starting point and the best is by hiring a personal assistant to do the entry level work. And I don't mean that as a diminishing term. I simply mean there's certain work that is easier to accomplish by a third party with less training than
mhm.
other work, which is the more sophisticated technical work. Get the personal assistant doing that. The benefit is A, you relieve yourself from the work. The bigger benefit is you learn the key to delegation, the assignment of outcomes to others. You learn to give release. And to your point, it is so hard because they're not doing it the right way.
I
Which there
know.
is no right way. There's the my way and
Right.
there's the their way. And if it is their way and not my way, it's not the right way. And that's not true. The reality is the right way is whatever achieves the outcome, the standard that we agree upon. And we have to learn to negotiate that. It is a big ego push on us. And for many entrepreneurs, speaking for myself, it took years and years of having personal assistants before I finally realized, let them be, just agree to the outcome, let them
Mhm.
find their path. And in many cases, it's a better path because it's the right path for them. So
Right.
hire that personal assistant. That first hire should be a personal assistant. And it doesn't need to be a
Mhm.
full-timer. It can
Mhm.
be fractionalized into a few hours a
Yeah.
week, or whatever. But we need to get this training in place for you, the entrepreneur, so you can do what you need to do, which is design outcomes, be a
Mhm.
designer of the business, not do the job, and create jobs.
I love it. When I read that in the book of like, it's not your job as the entrepreneur to have all the jobs and do all the jobs, it's for you to create them. And I thought, what? Like it shook me a little bit. It
Yeah.
made me like stop and read and reread. And I was like, oh, okay. And it was that like you're stealing an opportunity from someone that actually not only wants to do that thing, but can definitely do it better than you. Like,
And they definitely can. They can. Yeah, entrepreneurs are great at believing we can do things greatly
yeah.
because it takes great belief to start a business. You know how big your guts have to, I was going to say a word I shouldn't say. I don't know why. I can say dickless, but I can't say the other word. I don't know why.
right.
But you have to have huge guts to start a business. And what it takes is massive vision and belief and self-confidence. But
Mhm.
it's a double-edged sword, like so many things, that we then believe I am awesome at everything. I started this business, therefore, whatever I do, I am Midas. It turns to gold. But that's not true. We have great vision. We rarely have great execution. That's true for most
Mhm.
entrepreneurs. We're great at getting things started, but seeing them through and being meticulous, for most of us, not our talent. That's the
Mhm.
people we want to bring in.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, it is remarkable how bad I am at delegating. It
Oh yeah,
is.
I'm with you, sister. I'm with you. I get it. I get we can form a pity club, but the reality is we just need to keep delegating until we get
Mhm.
good at it.
Yeah, the person that came on the team, I basically told her, I was like, look, I'm going to suck at this for a little bit. I just need you to be patient with me.
Yeah.
Here's where I am. And she was like, oh, I've done this a lot of times. Like, this is what they do. The
Yeah.
people that don't work for someone full time, like they know the system.
Yeah. They learn to reverse coach you and so forth. Yeah.
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 So it's important to do. I appreciate that first step. And then you can get to the point of having the business that runs on its own. And I don't have it on the calendar yet, but you will be getting that email when it's like, I have got,
Vacation.
yeah, the like, I have a 4-week vacation on the calendar.
Boom.
I don't know when
Boom. I've
it's
been
going to,
waiting for that. Now
yes.
this interview got real, Amanda.
Okay.
A 4-week vacation is, so I ran these different tests to see how and when a business could run itself. And what I found is for almost all businesses, if the owner or the leader of the business can be extracted from the company for 4 consecutive weeks, a full digital disconnect, a
Mm,
full physical disconnect, and the business can operate in their absence, that is usually an indicator the business can operate in their absence into perpetuity. Now, here's the reality. There will be a day that you will take a 4-week vacation, regardless if you planned it or not. It's called a health scare, a
Right.
concern, problem. You decide I'm heading to Brazil and I'm never coming back, whatever, you know, whatever it is. I don't know why Brazil, but that's where people go.
Why not?
Why not? When I was growing up as a child, we used to have fire drills. Now they have other types of drills, unfortunately, but they're
Mhm.
necessary. The idea of a drill was the bell goes off, everyone learns to get in a single file, evacuate from the building in the safest, quickest route. And sure
Mhm.
enough, we had a real fire years and years later after being trained on this regularly. And when the bell went off, everyone went into the routine, got out. No one was harmed at all. And it was a scary fire, but no
Mm.
one got hurt. We are going to have scary fires in our business. If the business depends on us fully and exclusively, and we're the ones who are having the fire, the business is going to be compromised. By removing ourselves, now the other folks, the clients, the vendors, that fractional employee, maybe we brought in another person, they
Mhm.
start covering for us and we have to train them accordingly. Here's the biggest challenge. When I left for my 4-week vacation, my big fat ego kicked in and said, well, if I'm leaving, that means the business doesn't need me and I want to be needed. So my fat
Mm.
ego kicked in. And within a few days of not being contacted by anyone, I found a way to sneak into my email, even though I told him I wouldn't.
I would
Emailed and
totally
said,
do the same. I'm
yeah,
sitting
I
here
need
thinking,
reports. What's going on? When I came back after 4 weeks, I asked my employees how they felt. They said, Mike, when you left, we felt empowered. You turned the
"Oh,
keys over to us. You trusted us. But then 3 days later, you acted like you didn't. And it hurt because the reality was I didn't trust them. My ego was too big for it. I wanted to be needed. So I had to be diminutive to them again. Well, since then, that was my biggest learning lesson is leaving my business is an empowerment mechanism for the people who are now running the business.
mhm.
And Kelsey, who is our president of our company, this is about 3 years ago. She said, Mike, you've been taking these 4-week vacations. It's empowered our company, but I realize we're now dependent on other people, herself and others. We need
Mhm.
everyone to take a 4-week vacation. So started 3 years ago. Every employee takes a paid 4-week vacation,
Wow.
mandatory, in addition to a regular vacation, so that they have to have backups in place. And it
Right.
is a great benefit. Listen, we're recruiting people international. Our little itty bitty company has people applying internationally because they hear of our reputation for the experience here, which is awesome. But the real benefit is I have a backup for everybody. No
Mhm.
one can build a little fiefdom of their knowledge and not share it because they all are leaving for a period of time where there's going to be other people needed to do that work. So it
Mhm.
forces training or cross training the company. I would say with our 22 people here collectively with these two buildings, I would say we perform at companies that have maybe 35 or 40 people, the same level, because we have redundancy
Mhm.
and connectivity at a level where when their people leave, they're crippled for that period of time. And if they're
Yeah.
leaving for a new job, they're permanently crippled until they can recover.
Mm. Gosh, I've seen that happen in so many companies that
Oh,
I've worked for and
yeah.
saw that or had to take on the work of someone else, like, and not know what the
Yeah. What
heck
the
is
hell's
going
going on
on.
here? How they do it?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. Oh, that's so good. Gosh, this is so good. And I just really appreciate so much that you have followed your passion. And I love how you described it in the book of simplifying entrepreneurship. And that's exactly what you've done. So thank you yet
Thank
again.
you.
I love that I get to tell you thank you for a second time of following this passion and doing this. And I can't wait to give some of your books out to my listeners. So they'll have to listen to the outro of this podcast episode to hear all the details.
And I can't wait to read your book. So good luck with that journey.
Thank
Tell me when
you.
it's out.
I definitely will. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.